In this video you get an idea how to look at entry bars, follow through, and how to manage your stops. I'm gonna go through this live example of a trade. I'm gonna go over some of the tactics that I teach in daytrading. Let's dig in. So tell me in the comments what I should do better, where am I wrong in this trade, and tell me what you are up to. Also remember to subscribe to this channel, give the video a like, a thumbs up, hit that bell button to get notifications and all of that jazz. Here we have a traditional strategy. We have some support below and we have a double bottom, and it actually got tested about 4 times before we got a nice bull signal bar that triggered. See that purple arrow? That's pointing towards the entry bar. This is a really good strategy for reversal trades. You get the spike and channel from the top left of the chart, and it turns down and turns into a bottom formation, and that's where you want to look to go. That's where you want to look to go long. There was a similar setup a while ago that I traded, and I actually managed to record the trade as it played out. And I wanted to show you that because it's just really cool when the theory is so similar to what happens in real trading that you can directly transfer one setup from these theories to an actual trade that I took. So that's pretty cool. I just want to show you this chart. It's a bit higher time frame, but the pattern is the same. I got in a bit late on this trade, but all the basics are there except for the mistake that I got in a bit late. So let's check it out. Here it is, and this is from my live trading platform. And as you see, we've got this spike to the left, and we've got some choppy motion before we get the channel down. We get a double bottom and a nice bull bar that closes near the highs. And I got in where the green arrow is, and you can see on the blue line that's my entry level, and the red line below that's my stop, and the black line, that's just something I draw in for my own help when I analyze the trade afterwards. So this is what you want to look for in terms of reversal tactics. You've got some not too convincing bear movement down into some support. You get a reversal setup like this sweet double bottom, and then you enter long. And furthermore, you want to look for context, and previous context right here. As you see, that's sideways trading, failed breakout to the upside and failed breakout to the downside, and a reversal pattern. So this is a nice trade to at least take it to the previous high that you see like 3 or 4 bars before the bar that's forming right now. And let's speed it up and see how the trade turns out. And I'm going to tell you how I managed this trade stop wise, how I move my stops, just as I showed you in the daytrading video. And this is the setup and the analysis that I did on it. It's a different trade, but it's the same setup roughly. Here we jump to the 5-minute chart, and we got the bottom formation and a nice bull setup. And to talk about stop management, you see the initial stop goes below the initial pivot. You've got some support down there, and be aware that it's not a single line. It is a rough area. And then the stop moves up as you make higher highs, not before you make higher highs, but after you make higher highs. The initial stop and the initial position can get moved to break even, as I did on the live trade. So, and when you get a large move, as we did right here, a large breakout, then you can also move the stop up, or else you're gonna risk a bit too much on those larger moves. So here we move the stops as the price breaks above the previous high, and that's the classical stop management. Look at this right here. That's the high up there, and that's we're not breaking above the high until this bar right here. That bar went above that last pivot high, so then we move the stop. And where we're going to move it, in this case we get a nice breakout. We are deep in profit, so we're going to move it to below the last pivot low. When we got a big bar like that, then you can what I often do is that I move the stop up to below that tall bar right there. Someone calls that that's either a breakout bar, road sign bar, exhaustion bar. It depends on when it happens. In this case, it's a spike and channel. That's happening again. That happened all throughout this bull trend right here. And now as we're getting late in the trend right here, you can move your stop up a bit more aggressively, as I did right here. You had the small pullback, like the small pause, the small bull flag, and you can move it up a bit quicker when you are deeper in profit and you expect the breakout to reach exhaustion, or to reach a strong reversal area. So that's what's being done in this case right here. Then you aggressively move your stop closer as you're making newer highs. And in this case, your position was safe all the way from back when you entered, all the way down there. And you can see by the black lines how we moved the stop up as we made newer highs. That's how you ride a trend. And I count how many points for the initial move up. That's about 40 points, and ended up making well over 100 points. So that's a very, very good trade. And it's not every day these trends appear, but when they do, you want to be able to ride them. So let's take a look at how our trade is doing. As you see, we moved the stop up to break even, and I took some partial profits at the small purple arrow, and we're now breaking higher. We're breaking the previous highs. So what we want to do is look at moving our stop up very shortly, and I'm gonna fast forward this trade. Let's see what happens. And as you see, I took some more profits at that high right there, and now I'm moving my stop up to below the past pivot. I waited for the bull bar that broke higher. I waited for that to close before I moved my stop, and I was looking to get some profits at that very area. So now we are into profits with both our scalps, and we're into profits with our runner, and our stop is also in profit. So this is a very decent trade, looks good so far. Let's fast forward and see how it plays out. So the trade has broken free of the most obvious targets, and now I'm going to look at the higher time frame context to see what's going on, if there is something to be aware of, where I potentially should manage my trade some more. And as you see, there's both resistance diagonally and horizontally higher, and we are nearing the potential bear trend line, and this is on the 15-minute time frame, so that's something to be aware of. And here I'm measuring out some harmonics, or some measured moves, and that fits pretty well with the diagonal resistance area that's coming in from above. So be aware of all kinds of technicals that can either support your decision to take profit, or to close a position out in full, or to enter a trade. Be aware of multiple things. The more things you've got confirming your thesis, the higher the probability is that you are right. And in this case, we've got something that's telling us that this might be time for a larger pullback, and that's when I want to get out of this trade. Or at least take some profits and manage my stops more aggressively, perhaps. And we jump to the higher time frame. That's why you don't see all the stop movements on this chart right here. So let's speed it up and see what happens. And as you see, you're going to see in just a second, we're going to do some top-down analysis just to look at what's going on, to get a read of the context on the high time frames. Still pretty convinced that this resistance area is interesting, and as you see, price did show some resistance that did turn, some sellers did turn up right in there, and I'm just measuring out like 100% expansion area, and that's it is like a 100% expansion from the first push up and till the very high, and that fits well. But also it's a test to see where would a 50% pullback, how deep would that go? Well, for now, the initial support we are looking at is the EMA, the moving average. And on this very bar that's forming right now, you see there is some buyers on that moving average. We do have like three tests of the highs and nice bear context for a deeper pullback. But often you get like a spike in channel, and on a higher time frame, this could be a spike and carrying or making the way for a channel up. So this is why we keep runners. You don't know how far they're going to go. This might turn around and go down immediately, or it might break out and go a lot further. And that's also why we make sure to take some profits on the way, because once again, you don't know how far it's going to go. There is a chance that this might go higher, but could also be the end station for this trade. See how it plays out. And this is at 20 times speed. As you see, the bars are forming quite a bit faster right now, and we got lucky with the pullback just to the EMA, and that's also typical that the initial pullback it gets a retest of the highs, and we traded above the highs to the left, and I moved my stop up to below the price pivot. And now what we're looking at right now is a break higher. We're moving on up, and we really like that. And in a moment, I'm gonna take some more profits of this trade, just because we are in playing up against those resistance areas that I showed you earlier. The trade met its target a while ago, and we're right now up in like the 100-point area, which is a sweet spot for taking profits in the DAX. And we're gonna fast forward again 20 times speed, and as you see, we are making some bear bars up against this resistance area, and 3 consecutive bear bars, 4 consecutive bear bars. And reading into context, it's been a while since we had that many bear bars in a row. The bulls failing to break up, it's actually failing to just make a double top. The bears are making lower lows and lower highs. It looks a bit stronger than the initial pullback, and this is the second serious attempt, and as you see right now, it did get up to speed and took my stop out right there. I could have been more aggressive with the final stop and put it above the bar that I took profits on, and probably should have, but you just never know. I didn't sense that it was large enough to put my stop all the way up there. If the green bull bar had been a bit larger, then potentially I would have moved it up just below that green, the final green exhaustion bar. That's what it became. So, and that's how this trade went. That's taking profits on the way, and that's an entry bar, a reversal setup, and trailing your stops as the trade progresses. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and also tell me what I did wrong down in the comments if I haven't mentioned it already. Remember to subscribe to this channel, throw the video a like, and write something down in the comments. It's just cool to help out other traders, and I also have some coaching and mentorship programs that you can get into. If you want to know more, put some comments down below this video.